Your adult behavior patterns, especially in your relationships and even life in general, are based on the type of parents who raised you. Unless you learn to do things differently, or unless you have been in some form of healing work. So look into who was there, who was not there, how you were loved, how you were disciplined, and how your parents or caregivers gave you attention and love in your early years. And when you have physically absent parents, this triggers abandonment trauma, maybe more than people who had parents who were there, even though the parents might have not have been psychologically attuned to them or attuned to their needs. Parents were probably not able to meet their needs, but it's worse for people who especially didn't have the parents there, who had absent parents. And it can also be a matter of which parent. When you have an absent father, this triggers certain wounds in a man, in a woman, because a father usually is the one who guides their children in life. And we are not saying mothers don't guide children, but there are roles each parent play in our childhood, in our upbringing. And if one of them is not there, that can affect them in such a way that we have unmet needs from our childhood that were not met because of the absence of such a parent or the parents. So whenever you are struggling in your adult life, in your adult relationship, the first thing you need to do when you start to heal the inner child is to look into the types of parents who raised you, to look into who was there and who wasn't, as well as how you were loved and how you were disciplined. For those who were there, the parents who were there, how were they attuned to your needs? How did they meet your needs? Were they present emotionally as well as physically when you were engaging with them, or when you wanted something from them? Because a lot of us were raised in an environment where we had to appease our parents. We had to adapt in order for our parents to feel heard rather than for us to feel heard. And this is an important aspect I want you to understand, because many people think that they had loving, stable childhood. And sometimes it was a matter of effort on their part as children to try and make their parents happy, to try and give attention and love to their parents. And this stemmed from their parents' own unmet needs, because a parent with trauma can struggle to be a parent who is present for their child's needs or attuned to their child's needs. So what happens is there is a parentification which can be obvious or subtle in the way that the child ends up having to do so much, either physically or psychologically, in order to meet the needs of the parent, so that the parent is regulated. And where a child makes a mistake, it's not tolerated, it's not accepted, because the parent cannot cope with the emotions, negative emotions that stem from how a child is misbehaved. And many children don't get the opportunity to learn to feel their own emotions, to learn to experience their emotions and apply trial and error in managing their emotions, because they are not allowed to have negative emotions in their childhood, in their families, because their family or their parents are not able to cope with or tolerate those negative emotions. And this is where you have parents who hit children, parents who shout at children constantly. We are not saying that children should just run amok or berserk, but it is our job as parents to look into ways that we can engage with them, and where we struggle, we need to go back to the drawing board and find ways where we can get support to regulate ourselves in order to engage with our children in a healthy way, so that our children can feel their emotions, but we can help them to navigate that world of emotions, or they can practice trial and error, and we can be there to hold space and support them in navigating solutions and self-regulation by co-regulating them. So look into all these aspects of you: who was there, who was not there, how you were loved, how you were disciplined, how you were supported to regulate your emotions, or how your parents held space for you in times when you were triggered or you were having a challenging moment. And this can guide you to understand why you behave as you do, you manage emotions as you do, you deal with your emotions, with your triggers, with your life challenges as you do presently. It all stems from how you were raised, how you were loved, who was there, who wasn't there, and how you learn to cope.